What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Scream 7 yet again. We have had an incredible last, I'd say, couple days. Things have really been heating up, right? Like the last 2 or so weeks has been absolutely nuts. We got like a Mason Gooding interview, which if you guys want me to cover that, I can do that. I want to do this. I want to talk about this potential flashback sequence. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff online. Of course, there's Emma Roberts and things that she's doing like on Instagram and stuff. So things are, again, like I said, really picking up. But I want to talk about the idea of this flashback thing, right? Because you're starting to see things really, I think, fall into place. And it's not to say that other things can't happen. Like I know like Steven of Craven Something Scary, obviously the conductor of the Stew Train. I'm not on the side that he's alive or anything like that. We've talked about like a Roman where there's like just absolutely no way. It doesn't mean, though, that you can't do other things, but I do think the idea of showing the death of Sydney's mom is something that you're absolutely going to get in Scream 7. I'm just getting more and more convinced. And then, like I said, if you want to do more with that, if you want to bring characters back from the dead, if that's the way you want to look at it, you could do that. I'm not saying it's a good or bad idea, but you could do it, right? But let's kind of go over what we know, right? So Roman coming back. I'm going to say character names, right? So Roman's coming back, right? Stu is coming back, and we know those things entirely. There's rumors about Sydney's mom. There's rumors about Skeet, right, coming back as Billy. I don't think those two things have been confirmed, at least at the time I'm recording this, right? But those two things are right now rumors, along with like the Emma Roberts stuff is kind of picking up as well. So right now you have two characters that are dead, at least in my opinion, and the only relation between the two of them, well, there is one, right? It's kind of that origin point. Remember we talked about this with the Roman video I did a few days ago where, okay, you're bringing him back, and at that time we only knew about him, and it's like, okay, so you're going back all the way to the beginning, right? Because he kind of jumps ahead of somebody like a Stu and Billy, right? Because he was kind of the mastermind of it, behind the scenes. So okay, you're going back to like the original source. Well, now you throw in Stu and you say, oh my dear God, so are you doing like a cult? You're doing like a prison type thing? Are you doing like some Scream 3 ideas? Like what's going on? The idea of throwing in Sydney's mom and the idea of throwing in Billy, we've talked about it doesn't make sense for Billy to be like a hallucination. And I mean, the AI thing is still definitely possible, and I like that idea, and that's something, like I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, you could do more than one thing. If you're going back to the beginning and you're showing this entire, death sequence, could you also have AI, and could you also have the killer be messing with Sydney, and could her mom also kind of be part of that? Yeah, and I think that actually would be kind of cool to throw in her mom on top of killers, you know what I mean? So it would be a little bit different than just like all the killers of the past calling her, right? So we'll have to see kind of how that plays out, but I just feel in terms of who you're bringing back and who is rumored to come back, you gotta be doing something like that. Now I will say one thing, okay? I am a fan of it from like a premise perspective, and the idea of like always kind of going back to the source, or always going back to the past, how like everything kind of relates. It is something that I think would actually be kind of cool. And if you're gonna show that, by the way, right, if that death is like a thing that's important, it's gotta tie into something. So there's got to be another character involved, or somebody's got to be alive that we presumed was dead, which really Stu is the only one of those three, by the way, that would make sense, right? So there's other things at play here besides just the scene itself, but we kind of have to wait to see, you know what I mean? Like we can't go all the way yet. But in terms of my one concern is just simply like, we talk about AI and stuff, right? Is the face kind of like, making them look young. And I don't know, like sometimes it's been done good. I feel like the more you stare at it, the more that it becomes like blatant that like they did do something. So that's just one thing I would kind of be concerned about, especially like lower budget stuff, right? Like, I mean, look, Disney has some super high budgets, and some of their stuff looks like garbage, or they don't put in the time that's actually necessary to animate stuff or whatever it might be. I'm not necessarily saying higher budget, but at the same time, I think it's more likely. I think oftentimes studios are just lazy, or they just run out of time, right, when they're having these big budgets. But normally when you have the 150, 200 million thing, yeah, you expect the CG of like a de-aging thing, right? You expect it to be better. For Scream, you're talking about a $20-30 million budget, and a lot of that's going to the actors and actresses and all that stuff. How much money you have left over for CG? You know what I mean? And they get creative already with some of like the shots of the kills and stuff, and some kind of clever tricks there. So to have to do CG, I don't know. I think you kind of saw it with Billy, where it's like it's good in a short burst, but to do it as an entire scene, right? If you show the whole thing of like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and you're bringing in these 50-year-old plus actors, right? And then you're de-aging all of them at once. I'm just kind of saying, I like the idea. I think it could be done really, really cool, and I would love to see like it executed, and I think it would be executed actually rather well. I'm just kind of worried about if you're gonna do it, how young or how old are they going to look, in that scene, and then like how does it age, right? Like movies are timeless; they're not just in that moment. Yeah, that's kind of important as well, right? They have to look good right then and there. But what about 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line? How are they going to look? So I still get excited about the potential. I think it's definitely winning me over. Like I said, I think just who they've brought back, and really, to me, it's either like this flashback thing or this AI type thing, but it actually could be both, right? Like you could, again, be showing this flashback scene, and then the killer could be using that in some way. We'll have to kind of get more, in depth with that as the months are actually one more year from now, right? We have a long time, but you could do a couple things there. You could still have the AI where Sydney gets calls, and then you don't have to mess with stuff, right? As we talked about, I think in a past video, maybe the Stu one, if you do this AI kind of gimmick thing, which I think is a good idea, by the way, and you have like a Matthew Lillard and a Stu, right, calling Sydney, but it's Ghostface, using AI. The ironic part is you're using AI. It's actually really good though, because you could just have Matthew Lillard like in the moment be doing it, and it's just like the best AI you've ever seen, right? Which is actually even more ironic, because that stuff would look good, but the flashback sequence might actually age, because you're actually trying to like alter what's actually happening there. So it gets kind of deep, actually deeper than I thought it would. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I got many more Scream videos. Like I said, it's been a packed couple days, and I got a couple different kind of topic videos I want to do over the next couple days. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.